What's going on? Welcome back to another edition of Blake and Blake Sports. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Blake Cabell on a windy, rainy, muggy day here live at Ferg's, 1320 Central Avenue in St. Pete. It's been a little while here, some cameras, some tech issues, but we got it all sorted out. So we're ready to talk Tampa Bay Buccaneer football with you here on Blake and Blake Sports, and of course take your responses because, as we always do here, Blake, and go ahead, say hi to the audience there because we have been a little bit delayed, had a little rain delay here, and just crazy. One minute it's raining, and then the next minute it's sunny out, and then again it's raining. So
welcome to Florida, and we haven't gotten to September yet, and August when all that foolishness happens. But yeah, we got it rolling. Took a little minute, but we're here to give you the fire and the thunder.
Yep, absolutely. And again, you're on Bucks Report, bucksreport.com. Join our 62,000 following, as we always do here on Saturdays live at Ferg's. Definitely get down here. Great food, great service. In the middle here of a Tampa Bay Rays doubleheader day. Night affair as the Rays win last night 5-1. Yanni Chirinos pitched lights out. Kevin Kiermaier, big game, 3 for 4. 3 hits, including 4 RBIs with a home run. So, yeah, absolutely. Misador says stuck at work but took a quick 10 minutes. So we'll try to go as long as we can on this show with the weather basically seeing where we're at this point. But let's start it out with the big story of the week, as it's always been the last 2 or 3 weeks on this show, the Gerald McCoy Ndamukong Suh drama, and it basically concluded with this decision by Gerald McCoy. In case you missed it, here you go.
Come on, baby. Yeah. Home, baby.
All right, so there you go. Kind of surreal. Talked with Al Keck, 40-year sports broadcasting legend, about this. I never would have thought that I would see the day that Gerald McCoy would have chose a division rival, although, as I've been, very frank about, it's really not about the loyalty to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because the Bucs are about business. Gerald McCoy's going to be about business. So for fans to get upset about it, I don't know. I mean, again, it's what gives him the best chance to win. He feels like the Carolina Panthers are going to give him the best chance to win. Go ahead, have your say on this.
Well, that party moved on. I mean, he can go wherever he wants. The NFC East is the one most notorious for players jumping from the same division. I'm talking about the Eagles, Redskins, Dallas. They do that for years.
Yeah.
Who cares? So it's our turn finally, and that really doesn't happen much. And he ain't the only one. Javion Elliott went over there as well. I mean, everybody wanted him gone so bad. Now he's in Carolina, and everybody's upset all of a sudden. Who cares? He's a rival now on the Panthers, so I mean we just got to move on from him.
So you're ready to move on now? No hard feelings at all. I mean, because Bruce Arians was kind of right about this. He got a 1-year $4 million. $4 million was guaranteed. There's another $4 million, so it's only about $8 million. All in all, it equals out to, with incentives, if he hits these certain plateaus, which are 8.5 sacks, 6.5 sacks. It could be in total of $10 million. But really, it looks like Bruce Arians and the Buccaneer organization were correct, right?
I mean, for the most part, yeah. But like you said before, which I was never arguing, is scheme fit as well. So, I mean, the Panthers is a better system for him.
Sure.
And he got the money, or the opportunity for the money he was looking for there as well, with Dontari Poe collecting almost $10 million for a 1-sack performance last season and less tackles than Gerald McCoy had last season. He's making almost more than Suh and McCoy, almost. But yeah, I don't see Poe staying there come this offseason. Who knows what kind of shape he's in? I haven't heard or seen much from him on the field or in this offseason. Frankly, and Cam Newton's posted several videos. I think they had a flexing thing. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
McCaffrey, because everybody's messing with McCaffrey because he done put on some weight. this offseason, put on a little size on him.
Well, it's good. I mean, he was small coming out of college, and, I was one of those proponents that wasn't sure if he was going to
Durability.
work out. Yeah, the
Yeah.
durability concern, I thought he was more of a third down back, but he's definitely proven me wrong. He's been more durable than I thought he was. He's been a very productive for the Carolina Panthers. So if he puts on more weight, you hope it doesn't affect his performance. But overall, I think he's been
No.
everything as advertised for the Carolina
I think
Panthers,
he just
being a
did
top
that to
10
bulk
pick.
up to take a few more so he can take some hits and
Right.
stuff. Because he does run up the middle. Everybody's thing was like, he can't do this, he can't do that. And he did it all so far.
All right.
Yeah.
Big time announcement, because we mentioned the Carolina
Yeah.
Panthers, and of course Gerald McCoy going to the Panthers, so that's a big game you have to circle. He will not be back in Tampa Bay
Nope.
because the Bucks don't have a home game.
Nope, be in London.
Game 2 of the season will be on the road. We're going to be out here. I don't know if you're going to be out here, but we'll be out here for watch parties. Of course, the big time announcement with Bucks Report, the Sports Web, the evolution of sports talk television. We will be doing road watch parties. So instead of staying at home and watching the Bucks, if you want to save money, fine. But there's really good prices here at Ferg Sports Bar and Grill. They've been around since 1992. We'll be doing pre, half, and post-game shows starting that night on Thursday night versus the Carolina Panthers. Also, October 13th, talked to Mark Ferguson this morning. Really not a morning person, but when I get up early, it's usually important, right? He says on October 13th, Fergs is going to be open at 8 a.m. Now get this. You love scrambled eggs?
Yeah.
You love bacon?
Yep. Who doesn't love bacon?
You love pancakes and French toast? All that's going to be available at 8 a.m. on October 13th. Fergs opens up, so we will have another road watch party here live at Fergs, 1320 Central Avenue in St. Pete. Again, whether you want to watch the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Tampa Bay Rays, who are on right now to update the score 0-0, second inning against the Red Sox big-time series, or, of course, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, get down here for that special event. Are you going to be getting up early for that day?
Oh, Lord. I mean, I can't go out that night.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So that's the big-time announcement, and, of course, join us here on Bucks Report. Join our 62,000 following on Facebook. Again, I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Blake Cabell on Blake and Blake Sports, as we're live here on Central Avenue on a rainy day, but it's clearing up, so people are walking by. How you doing? We're doing the Blake and Blake Sports here live on Bucks Report. All right, so talked about Gerald McCoy going to the Carolina Panthers. That's over with. Now the Bucks are basically concluding their mini camp. It's a 7-week layoff.
Long time.
Are you worried about that long layoff? That's a pretty long layoff
over a
there.
month.
Guys got to stay in shape. Even Bruce Arians mentioned to Greg Auman of The Athletic that these players have to be and stay in shape, and if they don't be that guy. Right there tells you that these players, all of them, have to stay in shape, and if they don't, then
in
Bruce
trouble.
Arians is going to call them out.
Well, it's in shape and staying out of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 weeks to do nothing at this time. It's a lot of time to get in trouble. So, by all means, you guys are young men, adults, go out, have a good time. I've never been that guy to sit here and say a grown man should stay at home just because he's got money. Enjoy your damn life. You earn the right to have that money, and just be smart with it, as everybody's after you. You don't have to do anything these days.
I think it comes down to priorities, too. If you
Yeah.
want to be an NFL football player, stay away from Taco Bell. They know their diet. They know to stay in shape. That's your job. You have to do it. And, of course, you hope there's no big-time injuries, nobody playing any basketball games. But a 7-week layoff, that seems kind of – that's a long time. So, we'll see what happens. But, of course, training camp 7 weeks away. And then you start to see, but Ndamukong Suh, the new defensive tackle, some interesting comments the week to Carmen Vitale of Buccaneers.com. His initial impression of the Bucs defense is that he loves the emphasis on linebackers, and that's what we've kind of heard here. We've heard about this defense overall. He likes the communication, and then on top of it, he thinks there's going to be an ability to have multiple sets, not only with the linebackers, but also the multiple fronts and blitzes and stuff like that, where they're going to be able to get after the quarterback. So what do you think of his comments? Everything so far coming out of Suh's mouth has been very professional. He's handled himself very well, and he's saying all the right things. And Again, I think the big-time key is, can he come out, be consistent not only during postseason but also the regular season? Can Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator, get the most out of him?
I don't know what else Sue's supposed to say. He signed up to go there, so regardless if he likes it or doesn't,
Right.
That's what you're supposed to say. That he's there to get paid. So we all know Bowles is going to mix up these 3-4. Like we looked at some tape
Sure.
a while ago. Very good at getting pressure with not a whole lot of talent. It's just the ways you got to do it. And I don't doubt that he'll find ways to get the most out of Sue and Vita Vea.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you got a chance to watch the mic'd up version of Sue in the camp. I thought it was funny that out of all the people that was asking for help at the very end of the clip, if anybody's seen it, it's Will Golston and Vita Vea standing next to each other. And Will Golston says, we're here to learn from you. He said, well, it's not too hard to learn. He's like, you just got to go in. He said, it's a mindset. He said, you go in there, you dominate your opponent, find out what he's weak at, and then take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And, of course, this is William Golston asking Sue, that guy that we all don't know why he's still on the roster.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, but there was an article this week, why is William Golston still on the roster? Because he's been a disappointment ever since he's gotten the contract extension. But as I said, people say, well, Sue's not a good leader. Well, how do you know he's not a good leader? I've never heard a locker room guy saying he's not a good leader. So, look, if these young defensive linemen can learn something from him, then they definitely need to pick his brain. And I think Vita Vea is the one that definitely will benefit more than anything else.
Oh, Vita Vea, I'm not worried about.
Right. But he's going to be a monster with Sue. Both of those guys is going to be a mismatch nightmare.
Vita Vea should have almost had double-digit sacks last season.
Right.
But he's not. Like at the situation he was given, he couldn't get to the quarterback, and Carl Nassib or somebody else cleaned up on the sack. He should have had 2 in the Dallas game. One was taken away from a face mask penalty.
Sure.
But Vita Vea is going to be fine. That's one dude I am not worried about. If he's not getting sacks, he's creating hell, and that's his job. That's why I don't get where all these people coming up with these defensive tackles are supposed to take people to playoff games, and they're supposed to get double-digit sacks. Well, I don't know when all that started.
Well,
there's a reason why there's only 4 defensive tackles, including Gerald McCoy, have over 50 sacks. There's a reason why. Because they're not made to get that many sacks. That's why there's very little. J.J. Watt kind of fits in there, but he plays 3-4 in, so it's not still interior alignment, but it's not a 3 technique. The ones I'm talking about are 3 techniques.
Well, we talked about this before. It's an indictment on Warren Sapp. The comparisons with McCoy and Sapp. Of course, McCoy getting paid a lot of money. People are looking at it, and when you have that standard of Warren Sapp there, then of course you're going to compare. But you would like to see more splash. You would like to see more splash plays, especially in the fourth quarter. That's always been my thing with McCoy, making players around him better. But he's with the Carolina Panthers now. You have Kawan Short. You have a pretty substantial defensive line. Let's go back to McCoy. Do you think he's going to be very productive this year, or is he going to be a 6-sack guy?
Because they actually have a.
Because if he's not, I'm coming after you. I'm going to say.
I don't care if he does or he doesn't. He's for the Carolina Panthers.
Well, I'm just saying now, because everybody, the whole excuse has been, well, McCoy hasn't necessarily had the help, and that's a fair assessment. But also it's fair to say that if he's a great player, he'll make players around him greater. But now that excuse is out the door because you have Kawan Short, you have Dontario Poe. They got Brian Burns, who I forgot about at Florida State.
Yeah, they got him too.
Right.
They always pick up a lot of guys you forget about.
Sure.
I mean, I don't care if Sue, he's gone. Everybody's got all these expectations on it. It's the thing here at Tampa. You get rid of somebody,
right?
Then you want to keep tabs on him just so you know you didn't miss anything.
I think the media is going to be doing that. I think that's always been here.
Oh, well, he put up 10 sacks, so maybe you should have kept him. No, you said you didn't want him. I said, why are you keeping tabs on him?
They keep tabs on him because there's some type of personal relationship and emotion gets in the way. And then on top of it, one was a second round or second pick in the draft. One was a third pick. It's just like Marcus Mariota. Second and third. Sue was second, and McCoy was third. And what you're watching right now is Blake and Blake Sports. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with my second over here, Mr. Blake Cavill, live at Fergs on Central Avenue, 1320 Central Avenue.
I've already said that Sue, I don't expect Sue to have no double-digit sacks or anything. So, I mean, I'm not even trying to even play that game next year because it's a totally different system. Like in this defense, he's not really made to get sacks, and especially in this system now, he's not really made to get sacks.
Sure.
It's the same thing even in Carolina. If he doesn't get his 8.5 sacks, I mean, is he creating pressure that somebody else is getting the sacks? I mean, that doesn't show up on stat sheets. That's why sometimes stats are good, sometimes they're not.
Right. I got you. Okay. All right. So let's read some comments here live on Bucks Report. Join the 62,000 following. Go to bucksreport.com for all your great Bucks content. Definitely, we added a writer this week by the name of Allison.
Yeah,
so that's a great get. Definitely check out her work here eventually.
Right, Arians, you ain't the only one hiding for your mails now.
Oh, and hey, look, everything I hear, everything that I've looked at with her, resume and all the work that she's done in the past, it just adds more and more fuel to this fire and this relationship that we're gonna, start to have and we're having with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here on Bucks Report. All right, Misador says, "What's up, guys? What's going on?" Daryl, Corey, William Romer, hello from Indy.
What's up?
Let's see here. Where is Indiana? I'm in Hobart, somebody says. That's Indiana Buckaholics, Misador here as he's commented. And remember, leave your comments not only on here, but also send me an email, pblake1003@yahoo.com. If you have a Bucks take or also sports take in general, and what's your email address?
Yeah, just send it to buckandblakesports@gmail.com. Like I said, we'll play it. I put it on my website, and we'll talk about it.
There you go. Good stuff. Corey Brown says Rays are going to win all 4 games, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Corey, Golden State 1-3, going to lose the series to Toronto.
Good. I'm happy for them. Get their first championship.
Well, I mean, look, it didn't help with Klay Thompson and KD being out. Well, no, it didn't help. It didn't help for them being out.
Nobody else on that Raptors squad is an all-star but Kawhi Leonard. I don't want to hear it.
That's the better team right now, the Raptors. So we'll see if they can wrap it up on Sunday night, their first NBA championship. You got to be happy for Drake. All the shenanigans, all the antics. Oh, you do.
He's
you
all.
should.
He's all. It's just all for himself, promoting everybody's phone.
I think he's done a good job with the Raptors, putting them on the map and being an ambassador.
He ain't put the Raptors on the map.
He has
put the Raptors on the map by making the playoffs. I don't see Drake all season to the playoffs.
I'll tell you right now.
I don't see him all year.
He's done some great things for basketball in general with his music and also for the Toronto Raptors. And don't be surprised if they do win the NBA championship that he would be one of those. He's
going to make a song, too.
Well, he probably will.
Yeah.
He probably will. Probably make a video as he's always done before already.
He reminds me of I want to be Jack Nicholson with the Lakers all those years. Remember,
hey,
Jack was always
you gotta love the fans. You gotta love
Yeah.
the fans that get into it. But with Drake, could he be a guy that recruits Kawhi Leonard? Would Kawhi Leonard stay with the Raptors if they win a championship? What would be the need to go to L.A.? The Lakers have been talked about. The Clippers are being talked about. I think he stays with the Raptors. Pretty good team he's got there. So, all right, let's see here. AJ's voice is extraordinary. Definitely a voice for radio. Okay, I don't know who AJ is. Or Al, excuse me, Al's voice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
You just
guys.
said AJ,
I said AJ. It's Al, as it is definitely raining here live at Ferg's. The Rays cheated to beat the Red Sox. Sure, Daryl, okay. Will Cam ever even play this year for Carolina? Isn't he injured? Carolina won 6 games without Cam. Agree with that? They may win less than that if he's injured.
Well, they did pick up Will Greer, which I projected anyway. I knew they were going to get Will Greer, as he's a mobile quarterback, fits Ron Rivera's style. A little bit of a slinger, too.
Right.
Cam Newton, he reminds me. I hope he doesn't get the Chad Pennington syndrome. You guys remember Pennington when he went to the Jets all those years ago? Boy, was lighting it up, and I was a Pennington fan.
Yeah.
And then he got that shoulder injury, and then he was still good from like mid-range. If I remember correctly, he couldn't really throw over 40 yards.
Sure.
With power on it, and I hope Cam, I hate to see anybody go out like that, but if this throwing arm shoulder is not that good, it means he can't put any oomph on it.
Yeah,
and he wasn't always the most accurate either.
That had an impact on him last year because he wasn't able to throw the ball 30 yards.
Yeah.
So Carolina started to lose some games. Remember, they had some momentum, but the Bucks beat them here at Raymond James Stadium, and that kind of started that downward spiral for the Panthers. All right, let's see here. So what do you think? Does he play this year? Is he hurt?
Oh, Cam will play.
Cam will play this
hurt
year?
If you know Cam Newton, which I'm sure you do, we played him all these years.
Sure.
He's going to play if he can play.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's see here. William says, wish Gerald the best until he plays the Bucks. Panthers hopefully finish last. Just reported McCoy took a dump. Everyone give your thoughts. No, not going to do that. I don't even know why I read that. But that's how it's been here. on Bucks Report and the Sports Web here. Everybody is reporting the news. And look, it's viable information at this point. It is opinion. People do care about a player that's been here for 9 years. So we've tried to give you the analysis and give you the moves that's made. If we've over-talked it, then come on this program and bring something to the table.
We said emphasize that.
Bring
Peter.
the passion,
Well, now
bring
you're
your
mad.
excitement, just don't bring any nonsense. I feel like the Sports Web and Blake Sports is like, we bring something to the table, you also bring something to the
Yeah, it's
table.
both
If you
ways.
feel like we're not bringing enough to the table, then bring something. Don't
Send me
come.
a video clip.
Right, send a video
Send a
clip
video
or
clip.
something, and we'll definitely
I
read
was
it.
a man of my word. Misa Duro tell you. I played
Sure.
it right live on the show.
Sure.
Talked about it. It's still on my webpage.
Sure.
Bring it.
Yep. Corey says home run by the Rays. They lead 3-0.
Oh, damn, I even checked that.
All right.
Corey.
Well, thanks a lot for being the
You getting
update
that
there,
from-
Mr.
getting that
Corey
from
Brown.
Corey?
Yes. So we'll see if that's right or not.
Actually, Corey's 4-0.
4-0. Tampa Bay Rays over the Red Sox. What's the inning?
Bottom of the second.
We got to talk with Mark Ferguson about getting a TV out here somewhere and putting
we'll
it.
do something.
Yeah, definitely. Usually have Tampa Ray Kennedy. He's not with us today. He's hanging out with family, so hopefully you're having a good time. But it is just not a great day, but it's always a great day here on Bucks Report when we talk sports with you, the 62,000 following that we have. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Blake Cabell. Somebody says over the Green Monster. Can't blame McCoy. Charlotte is a very nice place
It
to
is.
play.
It's an upcoming city.
It's a one-year deal, though. This to me is it's a revenge thing to play the Bucks twice a year. He gets an opportunity, but I don't know if he's a starter because you have Poe and you also have Kawan Short. So
Poe's
most
not
likely
better than
he's
McCoy right
a
now.
rotational player. Well, he's making a lot of money, and they're not going to cut Poe. He's like $9 or $10 million
That's
guaranteed.
shame on them for picking that contract up.
It's free agency, baby.
Yeah.
You know, you live and learn. Thanks a lot, Drew, for tuning in here. I wanted McCaffrey and Kuechly. The Panthers always
we
still
blew one on Kuechly.
my picks.
I don't know if we had a chance on McCaffrey, but we blew Kuechly.
Didn't have a chance for McCaffrey.
Yeah.
McCaffrey went number
Yeah.
9 overall, and
Yeah,
Kuechly,
we blew that one.
they
we
picked
passed on
Barron.
him.
They picked Barron
Yep.
over. Let's see here. Sue's a huge upgrade over McCoy any day. That's what Russ says. Michael, Bucks will have a good year. Derek Jones, thanks a lot for tuning in. Where are you at? Used to be down here live on Blake and Blake
Riding his bike
Sports.
right now.
Hopefully he's being safe because it is kind of
Yeah,
wet.
it is rainy.
It's lightened up a little bit, so
Just the sun don't come out, please.
Yep. Yes. Well, the sun comes out a little bit, it will be okay. Let's see here. Bucks need to upgrade a new uniform. Now,
Again?
the people really
about
like
this
to talk
uniform.
about this uniform thing, mentioning that the 100-year anniversary of the NFL, the Chicago Bears released their old-style uniform from 1936. What do you think of it? You like it?
To me, it's not going to be really exciting because I'm not a Bears fan.
Yeah.
But, to people there, they're probably excited about it, people that's in the community. So
Yeah.
it's cool when you bring back older stuff like that. We don't really
Sure.
have anything like that except for the creamsicle. Then again, we don't have that long a history like the Chicago Bears either.
Yeah, well, you got the Creamsicle Coalition here
Yeah.
going today,
Yeah,
here
we're
live
rocking that
at
ourselves.
Fergs. Yes, we
Right.
are, 1320 Central Avenue and St. Pete. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Blake Cabell here live on Bucks Report at Fergs. Let's see. What's up, Peter and Blake? What's going on?
What's
It's
going on?
funny. That's both of my names, so
Peter and
Peter
Blake.
and Blake. Peter Blake. All right, defensive end we drafted from Iowa, going to be a hidden gem. Drew mentioned this. Do you think that Nelson makes that type of impact on this team going forward? He's a rookie. We always talk about it. Defensive ends, traditionally, they come in, they kind of have a slow impact. Besides, unless you're Joey Bosa or maybe a J.J. Watt, they have a slow impact. Do you think that Nelson will have a bigger impact on this team with the more playing time he's going to get for JPP being out? And we got an update on that. We'll talk about that also a little bit later.
I'm not putting any unreal expectations on a guy I haven't seen even in pads yet. I don't have anything for him right now. As far as Iowa, he played well. Big guy, athletic. I think we beat that dead horse on that already, talking about all the draft picks for so long.
Sure.
For all those months. But like I said, right now, like I said, they're not even in pads yet. So, I mean,
You're not getting too excited about
I
it?
mean, there's really nothing for me to sit up here and say, yeah, he's going to blow it up, do this, that. I mean, there's more to talk about with the DBs and corners because they're actually getting work in.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the pads don't really matter. If you can cover somebody, you can't cover somebody.
Sure.
That's really on you with or without pads.
Sure.
About, tackling, that's another story once all that happens. But as far as that, I mean, there's more of a story with that.
Yeah.
Like with Sean Bunting, and what's surprising about Sean Bunting, it's like if people forget he was a wide receiver turned DB, so the kid has hands.
Well, he
and
could run he was talked about when
Yeah.
the scouting report came out, he was from a small school, but he was running better routes than some wide receivers. So if he's a wide receiver coming out, he definitely has some type of advantage, right? With
Right.
positioning and stuff
Well, yeah,
like
he
that.
understands route tree
Okay.
and stuff like that. And
Okay.
that's kind of stuff that Grimes was talking about last year when the camp, where he said you should be teaching DBs how to beat certain routes and stuff like that. Well, he already a step ahead of the game as he played wide out. He knows where people should be running routes, where they should be making cuts and stuff like that. And that definitely helps being a rookie, having a leg up, and being incredibly athletic and a ball hawk.
Sure. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Michael says we need a better running game. I agree with that, and we shall see. I mean,
We'll see.
That's one of the main questions coming into training camp into 2019 overall. What are they going to get out of Peyton Barber? Are they going to get anything out of Ronald Jones? Because all you hear is that Jones has impressed the
He looks good
coaches.
right now in shorts.
Right. Well, I mean, and Jameis has even said in some of his comments that he's come to play, that he feels more comfortable. Maybe he does with this coaching staff. It's amazing what better coaching can do for your players going forward. Leal Davis says, I absolutely agree with you guys. They have to be ready coming in September. For sure, go Bucks. I agree. I think they will be ready. I think this team will be mentally and physically prepared.
still
And if they're not, they're going to be benched.
Yeah, they can still go to the facility and
Sure.
work out.
Sure.
Most of them will probably stay in town, but I know a lot of people got camps and stuff, so they'll probably go back home, their hometowns, and do their camps,
Yeah.
and then come back here and work out.
All right, Russ goes, McCoy overshadowed by other great Panthers. Derek says, Peter, you could tell him his voice. He hates talking about McCoy. To a certain degree, but I don't hate.
old.
Yeah, that's what it is to me. It's
getting
getting old and hearing the excuses and talking about the same valid points. I guess I kind of look at it from this standpoint, right? When you grow up seeing Michael Jordan, a.k.a. Warren Sapp, and then people try to tell you that he's kind of the same thing
I never said that.
as Warren Sapp, and that's Gerald McCoy being LeBron James, and I kind of get sick of that. So I've seen the
They're already
best.
doing it again to Devin White.
I know the best. Don't do that. Just don't compare different eras, different game overall,
A different team.
different team
Good
overall.
Lord.
Right.
Yeah,
but
they're
a
already
different
doing that to Devin
player.
White.
He's a different player overall.
Doing it to Devin White
He's-
already.
He's not a game changer, in my opinion, and I've taken a lot for that, and I'll go ahead and put my name on that. And if you're going to say, well, he hasn't had the help, well, again, I always go back to this point. If he wanted the help, then he cut his contract down, restructure it, and help the organization get players to come in here. Instead, he's complained but really done nothing to show this organization that he's really committed, in my opinion. Just saying. Trade Noah Spence for Darren Lee. That's what Corey says.
Lee's already traded
It's not
for
going
a
to happen.
6th-round pick.
Corey, trolling again.
He's already gone.
Let's see here, Bucks. Blake, you do know Peter is going to come back to this McCoy topic come week 8 when he's underperforming. That's what Bucks Report says.
Again,
And I think
I'm
that's
not
Keith
keeping
or
tabs
Tony.
on McCoy.
Well, let's keep tabs.
I'm not
Let's
keeping
keep
tabs on McCoy.
let's keep some
I'm
tabs.
gonna be worried about the Bucks
In
week to
fact,
week,
when-
not Gerald McCoy week to
When
week.
Gerald McCoy went to the Panthers, what did I say to you? I texted you. I said, get that tape ready, my friend,
Yeah, I heard
for
you.
week 2.
I ain't keeping
You
tabs
heard
on
me?
him. You guys want to keep
Well, let me
tabs
in.
because you guys are worried.
You hear me
he's
knocking?
gonna
Let me in.
overperform. You guys are worried. That's why you keeping tabs. I don't care.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
I don't care.
Honestly, I think both of those. And look, Sue may underperform compared to statistically because he's not asked to do that. But there will be some comparisons, and
you're
if they're unfair or not, there will be out there. So
And
we'll
you're never going to hear me this whole season complain, whine about Sue not getting no sacks, because I understand the game of football. Everybody else thinks you're just supposed to just knock people over every play and get sacks, which sometimes the scheme is not meant for that. It's your job to create pressure for somebody else to get sacks. Now, whether or not they're doing their job, that's a whole other story entirely. But I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to worry about McCoy. I ain't going to worry about Quan Alexander. I'm not going to flip to their team when nobody's looking and check their stats.
Are you
every
sure?
week. No, I'm not. I
know
care.
there's some fans
They're
out
gone.
there.
They're
Right,
gone.
right.
Especially, I called Quan Alexander. He was leaving alone. You notice I don't
Sure.
talk about that, right?
Well, I don't know if he's even going to start game one. I don't know if he'll even be healthy.
Talking about ran out of here, took his money. These fans loved him, too. And see how quick he dipped out on y'all?
Don't understand it, and I get it. Fans, they have some loyalty to those players, but at the end of the day, the players are only loyal to one thing. That's themselves.
Well,
That's how it
shown
is.
that.
It's a business.
The league's shown that.
The teams aren't always loyal to their players. The players aren't always loyal to their teams.
And I think
So-
even it's crazy when players finally learn, like with Del Rosen. I don't know how much you know about basketball. With Del Rosen playing with the Raptors so many years, and he loved Toronto.
Sure,
Toronto.
sure.
And then they traded him to the Spurs. He was mad.
Well, but it was a good trade, right?
Well, yeah, they got Kawhi, and they're game away from winning the championship. But
So DeMar DeRozan can be in his feelings all day long, but it was the right move for the organization. And you look at that trade overall, it was a risk that the Raptors were willing
that's
to take,
fine.
and they took the risk. No risk it, no biscuit. Bruce Arians.
Oh, that's Kawhi Leonard too.
Oh, it looks good, doesn't it?
I mean,
Doesn't
Kawhi
it?
Leonard. I wouldn't complain about that either. But
Looks good. Well, you didn't know coming into the season that he was going to make the Raptors this good, and then the trades that they made, basically with Gasol and the players that they're getting. in the
yeah, that later
performances
trade
from.
helped out too.
Big time.
Yeah, huge.
Big time. Big time.
And there's only a game difference between them and Warriors.
Yeah.
I think Warriors have one win more than them. I
Sure.
think it's just one win separating them. So it's kind of crazy that
Sure.
both of the top teams are playing.
So we'll talk about the NBA Finals if you like. We'll also talk about Tampa Bay Buccaneers around the NFL, uniform changes, whatever you want to talk about here on Blake and Blake Sports, live here at Ferg's on Central Avenue. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Blake Cabell on a rainy Saturday, but
Well,
the
it ain't
sun
raining
is
now.
starting to come out now.
The sun will come out
Go ahead.
tomorrow.
Are you going to sing for us? Are you going to serenade us for all the people that are upset about McCoy leaving? Go ahead, serenade them.
I ain't serenade.
Go
I'll
ahead.
be all right. Just like I'll be all right. Said my piece.
All right, Ken.
over.
What's going on, guys? Enjoying the show from Savannah, Georgia. Bucks
Oh,
Nation,
George
appreciate it.
Peach.
What's going on, Kevin? Thanks a lot for tuning in. Corey says Colin Kaepernick still a free agent. Do you expect
Nike
him to
pays
get
him
picked
more
up?
than what an NFL pay him. Nike's
Exactly.
paying him more money.
Exactly.
Why play him?
Exactly. Colin Kaepernick upgrade over Winston? No, Corey, not at all.
I'm just saying, point out a quarterback that's Winston's so bad. Just point out any quarterback that's a bust that throws for over 4,000 yards in the number. I said somebody keeps pointing out even Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, this point in his career, threw 30 more interceptions than Jameis Winston did, and only 2,000 yards more than Jameis Winston.
Right, and he was well
He had
protected.
1,000-yard rushers.
Yeah, and he-
so there was no excuse there.
10,000-yard receivers, and he was well protected.
Yeah, Jameis has been sacked 40 more times
Yep.
than Peyton Manning. So
Yep.
I get what y'all saying, the turnovers, but look at history. Like you talking about, even with the greats, they've thrown a whole lot of interceptions.
Sure.
So I mean, are we going to do this again? If y'all really want to get rid of Winston, we going to take a chance on another quarterback again? I'm just tired of changing stuff year after year. I'd rather work with the guy you know now. I mean, he's got the potential. The issue is not the potential.
Right.
It's just his decision making in that, and he fixed that near the end of the year.
Sure.
And I said, besides a couple interceptions he threw in Hail Mary situations,
Yeah.
whatever. If you want to hold that against him, go ahead.
So we will talk
Yeah,
about Winston
yeah.
here in a little bit because
Yeah.
much has
Oh,
been made
can't
this
say.
week with the his camp interceptions. People starting to lose their mind already. Think the
I don't
sky
know
is
that in
falling.
mind.
We'll get your thoughts on it. Can our line protect JW3 like we should? If so, we kill the interceptions. I agree with that. You know, as we
Run
talked
game
about.
would help that.
Right, 31.5 sacks, the average ever since Winston has been here as the starting quarterback for the Tampa
That
Bay
ain't even count
Buccaneers.
pressures. Hurries, excuse me. That ain't even count
Exactly.
that.
Exactly. Ken says, okay, Ken, we already read that. Derek says, busy today doing some film editing for basketball. All right,
cool.
Derek, cool, good stuff. Keep other uniform colors, but get rid of pewter. Why get rid of the pewter?
I'll tell you.
I like the pewter, man.
Man, I don't care about these
Sierra
jersey
Ste-
changes.
yeah.
Just get wins, man.
Yeah, just get wins.
Let's change that. Let's change from
change
5
the
and 11.
numbers maybe because they're clocked or alarm clock. And it always reminds me of alarm clock, which I never ever respond to, which
the
is
highlight
sometimes
one.
why I'm late. Yeah,
Oh, is that
I don't
what
like.
it is?
Sierra is tuning in. Sierra Stevens, thanks a lot for tuning in to Blake and Blake Sports. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Blake Cabell. Russ says, does Nick Fitzgerald become a special teams guy for us? Certainly a possibility, right?
He ain't
because
going,
he can
he's
do
not going to
everything.
beat out Ryan Griffin, so.
Well, not for a quarterback job, but for for a special teams. If he can play special teams, if he can block kicks, if he can do things.
Talking about Nick Gerald, the quarterback?
Yes,
Just remember, if you're going to keep an extra quarterback, on
not
the team,
Fitzpatrick, Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald, he's a quarterback, right?
Right, but he's changing positions. He's
Oh,
not.
okay.
I don't think he's going to be backup. I think
You're
that's
talking about
between.
like the guy the Saints got, number 7
Right.
kid from the Saints.
Exactly. Can he be a multifaceted player?
Only if he's better than the other guys you got. 'Cause
Okay.
that means with him just trying him out as I don't know what you want to call him, a utility guy.
Yeah.
That means you're getting rid of somebody else that you could use later on in the season. I just hope that decision they don't sign somewhere else and you lose out on somebody you could have had
Sure.
that could have actually helped you.
Yeah.
But I'll leave it up to Aaron. He knows what he's doing. So.
Somebody says uniform changes. Oh, guess what? Bucks unis aren't changing. As Tony Rossi. Tony Ramblin' Rossi missed the Rossi's take here on usually Tuesday. Now it's Wednesday nights here. But yeah, there's no uniforms changing, so you're gonna have to deal with it.
That's what I'm saying.
And honestly,
Change the wins. I'm happy with that.
I don't care about the uniform
I
changes
don't
because
either.
it seems like Nike ruins every uniform at this point.
Yeah, I know Nike's gone with this whole style. They really wanted to separate themselves from the old Reebok jerseys. I think they've done that.
Yeah, and not in a good way.
Yeah, I know.
Not in a good way at all.
More retro type thing
Yeah.
now.
Yep, and we're live at Ferg's on Blake and Blake Sports. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Blake Cabell here live on Bucks Report. Join our 62,000 following on Facebook, 1320 Central Avenue in St. Pete. Whether you want to watch the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Tampa Bay Rays, who right now are winning 4-0 in this doubleheader, or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, join us for the watch parties during road games. In case you missed, 4-1 now, 4-1 Rays over the Red Sox. The second game starts at 7 o'clock. In this game, pitching Ryan Yarbrough versus Josh Smith. Corey says bye, and Russ says it's time for Winston to get respect in the league and win some. So a lot of people coming out this week, kind of saying the same thing I'm saying. This is going to be a surprise team. They're going to do some things. A lot of people don't expect them with the defense. Steve Weiss, I think, says look for them to be a surprise team. A lot of people getting on this bandwagon. What was your win total that you predicted for the Bucks right now?
I hate these, but I'm gonna stay optimistic.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say 10-6.
Okay, so you're gonna go off my.
I'd like to get out of preseason.
Okay.
Preseason scares me every year. I don't even look at the stats and the numbers
Sure.
like that. What I look for is who got hurt.
Yeah.
That's what I look for. Nobody got hurt. That's a win. That's what scares the crap out of me. Every year in the offseason, somebody big goes down. Vita Vea was ours last year.
Yep.
Lost Quan early in the season.
Yep.
Just get out of there healthy. That's what I care
Just
about.
get healthy
Get out
and,
of there
and
healthy.
just hope that, and the preseason will be interesting. And they start off versus the Steelers. They play the Dolphins here. They play the Browns the third game. And we'll also talk about that too. Roger Goodell coming out this week once again and kind of hinting at the fact of maybe the NFL going to that 18-game season instead of 4 preseason games. Want to get your thoughts on that. But I tell you what, Russ says Bucks 11-5. Let's talk about the Jameis Winston situation. He's a lightning rod in this area and also nationally. This week didn't really look good in camp. A lot of people making a big deal about it. 5 interceptions. Is it possible, ladies and gentlemen, with all this being said, that the defense could be improved, that the corners could be improved, that it's not just a young quarterback struggling, although it is a new system, right? It's not the same system that they had with Dirk Cutter. Not making excuses, just pointing out facts, right, Blake?
No, I'll say this full 100% confident. I think Bruce Arians has made it very clear when he means something. He's not complaining about Jameis Winston's interceptions, which makes me believe the only way you're going to know if these receivers can beat in one-on-one coverage is throwing the ball to them. So him holding the ball, taking the sack in practice doesn't help anybody.
Yeah.
You have to throw the ball to these receivers in one-on-one to see if these corners can beat it. That's why he's not tripping about the picks.
Sure.
Because it's not a game-time situation. I get it. You don't want to throw. This is practice. It's not just Jameis Winston.
We're
It's the
talking about
corners.
practice.
Yeah, it's not just Jameis Winston. It's the corners and
You
the
say practice?
receivers. You have to find out if they can beat these corners in one-on-one, or can you throw the ball up to this guy? Can he do this? The only way you find out is throwing that sometimes into coverage. that's why Arians has made it very clear. You notice he's not really bothered about the interceptions. I think he would say something if he did, just like he has on everything else.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I think Arians has been clear on if it was something was an issue, he would bring it up.
Do you think there could be an issue with the players having a 7-week layoff? I mean, would you expect some players
that part,
to?
thank you for bringing that up.
Yes.
Also, if the offense was that bad, do you think he would have gave them a time off early,
Sure.
ended practice early,
Sure.
even said if one side beats the other, then we didn't have a good practice. Both sides need to do good.
Yeah.
Enough said there.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody says, who is the wide receiving coach?
I think we talked about that
We
last
did
time.
talk
There was
about
so
that
many,
last time.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
I can't either. I can't remember
I
off the
know
top
I
of my
read all
head.
of
But
them
go
off. There's like, oh, Lord, there's almost 20 coaches.
20 coaches,
almost
and then
20
when you have
coaches.
Randall L as a special assistant, and he's on that staff,
He's
definitely
one of
gonna,
them, Randall
right,
L.
right,
Yeah.
right. So, like I said, for me, Byron Leftwich is the offensive coordinator, but Bruce Arians. A lot has been made, and Bucks Report wrote about this week. You know, the one thing that a lot of people haven't thought about is how great Mike Evans is, and that kind of gets overshadowed because people talk about O.J. Howard and Chris Godwin, and they should, because I think they're talented players, but really a receiver that has a chance to be elite in this league, especially in this offense, is Mike Evans. These corners are definitely, you know,
Working.
yeah, they're able to really have an advantage over having
Kevin Garver is the wide.
Kevin Garvin. All right, so Kevin Garvin, and then you also have
and Randall L. And
Randall
all
L.
the
I mean, they've
guys,
had many coaches, and they haven't been able to necessarily do a lot of the practices this week because of weather situations and stuff like that, but they will be. And like you said, these corners are definitely going to benefit from the fact of covering a Mike Evans. People talk about Julio Jones, but
what
to
about
me,
Mike Evans?
is right up there, is he not?
The only reason people don't talk about him is because he plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're 5-11 2 years in a row. Nobody gives a crap.
Right.
Nobody gives a crap. We're 5-11, and that's part of our own demise from ownership on down. Arians came right in and said, "He said talent ain't the issue. Y'all got the talent here. I've said that already. We got
Sure.
the talent. There's poor management
Yeah.
from the decision to cutter, from decisions of light, from the decisions of the up top. That's why we've been 5-11. That's why we've been in the toilet for years. You've had talent here." I said this, I think, a week ago or 2
Sure.
weeks ago?
Yeah.
I said Andy Reid came to the Kansas City Chiefs, and they were the worst team in the league. They had #1 pick overall, and they were the #1 team in the league the next season. So if you tell me coaching doesn't make a difference, you're a lie.
All right, and then there was some comments here about a week and a half ago that I kind of missed with basically Bruce pointing out that they have Vernon, they have Carlton Davis. Carlton Davis hasn't really been talked about that much because a lot of people
That's a good and a
focusing
bad
on
thing.
Sean Bunting
Right.
and also Jamal Dean, but Carlton Davis, it looks like they're going to go with these, the 5 corners. They're going to have Vernon Hargraves, Carlton Davis, Sean Bunting, Jamal Dean, and then whoever's going to win out at that point. Who
Yeah.
wins out? Will it be
It's-
Ryan Smith?
It's tough. Ryan Smith's odd man out, being his contract too.
Who's
It's
going to
it's going to be tough at corner. They
Right.
got to battle every week.
Sure.
With all those DBs, the ones that we picked up, plus the ones that we brought in. I think Sean Bunting is probably going to be damn near almost a starter, and I'll call that now.
Calling it now. You
Yeah,
think
he's
he
going to
beats
be.
out
I didn't
Carlton or Vernon?
say beat out. I said damn near a starter. It's going to be that
Okay.
close race.
Right.
Carlton Davis showed a lot of flashes, but again, he was forced into a situation because of injury last year,
Sure.
and we really didn't have anybody else. And Hargraves is going to be. I'm happy to get to see Hargraves play again in that slot, playing that man press, which he was playing very well, and this year playing great in the offseason.
I still think he's an outside. I still
think he's like an outside numbers?
I think Bruce.
Just put him in a better man coverage
I think
situation.
that's what I think it is. I mean, that's why you drafted Vernon Hargraves in the first place out of Florida, because he was a man-to-man corner. Now you're able to put him in that
Where
type
his
of
strengths.
defense where he can work. Mm-hmm. Lo and behold, great coaching. Put
Fine.
the guy with his strengths instead of his weaknesses. When you have Mike Smith having his own
God.
defense. Yeah.
What they say? What an NFL player tell us? He called the same defense 27 times in one game. 27
times
in one game.
This is not like
27
Madden.
times.
If you call the same play over and over again, it's going to work. You have to actually change up
These guys
your
aren't
plays.
stupid. They understand what you're doing.
I mean, they're making
Hey.
adjustments. They're paid the other way. It's not just, one side paid. It's the other side paid. So, of course,
Yeah,
player-
that
ahead.
DB spot is tough. That's
Right.
the thing to watch in this camp is that it's a battle there.
Yep.
Somebody might possibly even get traded out of that situation.
Well,
There's just a lot of talent out there at that DB position.
Josh Omoreggi wrote this week, a new guy that joined Bucks Report.
Omerji?
No, I said it right.
Omoreggi?
Omoreggi.
You got
I
it
said
right?
I said it right. You corrected me, and I got it right.
Oh, okay.
So I should give you a couple for flinching.
Oh.
If you I'm in that mood today. Absolutely. Here,
Right.
live on Blake and Blake Sports. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Blake Cabell. As we have people walking by, I think somebody was trying to just talk to me, but I'm live on air. If you want to get on the mic here, definitely more than welcome. We
I don't
can
think
get
it
you
was
on there.
sports related.
I don't think so either. I don't
Yeah.
know what that was. I don't know. Anyway, what I was saying is MJ Stewart may be the odd man out.
Oh, no.
He changed position. Well, look, that's a second-round pick. Okay, he didn't really do much of anything. In fact, his
He was
statistics
forced
look
to play.
awful.
He was forced to play out of position, too.
Well, he's a safety now.
Yeah.
So could he be the odd man out, even at safety at this
Well,
point?
yeah, Mike Smith was thinking about doing that when they drafted him last year, but again, injuries killed us last year, so the DBs kind of had to, their rookie year, they were some sacrificial lambs
Right.
to wherever they had to play at. So he's not really a nickel man coverage slot. That's
Sure.
not his. He's very good in run support and playing in the box. A lot of like what Rondé Barber did. Excels very well near that line of scrimmage.
Sure.
So that's kind of like where he's probably going to play, but he's going to have to beat out some of the rookies, which a lot of them look really great too, and along with Dayon Buchanan.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be something to watch. I think the main stories of this team, especially defensively, were you're going to be the young secondary. Update this week on JPP. Bruce Arians has said, they're going to take a look at him next 11 weeks,
Let's
and
go
once
ahead
they
and
get
move
that,
on, man.
really, already giving up on him. I mean, 5 to 6 months he comes back. I mean,
This is the part.
Tony Rossi kind of mentioned this: is not only are you're gonna get him back in 5 to 6 months, but is he going to be in football shape? And I take the man at his word; he'll be in football shape. But again,
How
you're
you-
only in football shape if you
Running, hitting,
Right.
all the aspects.
Right,
And
right.
You can't do that. You told me this is your neck you're talking about here.
Right.
This is your neck.
I know.
This isn't your foot. This
No.
isn't your knee.
No.
This is your neck.
yeah.
And I think we all understand the totality of a neck injury being what happened to Ryan Shazier.
And I'll tell you what, we got something going on here at Live at Fergs. We got Auburn Boosters having a crawfish festival. Somebody just said, "Go
crawfish
Rays!"
again?
They're winning 4-1. Yeah. Look, if anybody wants to get on here, because they keep on coming by, it's almost like they think that we're gonna bite them if they get on air. We want you guys to get on air here on Blake and Blake Sports Live on Bucks Report. So Russ says players are now held accountable.
That's fine.
They have a better talent than the rest of the NFC South teams. Do you agree with that? Do you think the Bucks
Schiano
have?
held him accountable too, but people didn't like that. But
I
don't like Schiano. He did hold him.
don't think he. In all seriousness, as a coach, he tried to hold them accountable, but they didn't respect him because he didn't have that NFL pedigree
Right.
per se.
Came from the
Bruce
college
Arians,
ranks.
right? He came from Rutgers. He coached at Miami. He was a defensive line coach for the Chicago Bears. He didn't have per se that coaching experience. You have a coach in Bruce Arians that basically tells you, look, you come in shape, don't be that guy. You're not going to come out here and practice at 100%. You're going to be benched. That's what you need. This is what this team needs going forward. This is what this team has been
Yeah, stand
missing
for
the last.
validity.
Right, accountability, which is what we give you here on Bucks Report every night
Accountability and
here
continuity and
on the Sports Web, the evolution of sports talk.
consistency is really the word in Tampa Bay.
Absolutely.
Consistency.
Consistency, as we try to be consistent here on Bucks Report on Blake and Blake Sports
I
every
think we've done
Saturday
that.
here. Oh, I think we definitely done that. But I do apologize. The last couple nights, the camera tech issues have been down. So we will be on tonight with ABC Action News' John Sable at 9:30. So I will be doing another show talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with John Sable of ABC Action News at 9:30 on the Sports Web, the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Again, I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Blake Cabell. Russ says new kicker will help us win 2 to 3 more games. Agree with that?
He's got to win his competition before we even have that.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, him and Carrio Santos are balling out for the most part.
Sure.
They're both lighting it up. So it's
Sure.
only way, again, you're going to figure that out is in game time situation.
Yeah.
That's when you're going to figure out who's going to be our kicker.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we talked about the Jameis Winston situation. We talked about the defense. Now, speaking of the secondary, Justin Evans, kind of
Oh, the
concerning. Yes, a nagging injury, and he was seen
Just
this
keep
week
rushing,
with a
coming back.
boot.
Yeah.
Is he in their plans, or do they think that Dayon Buchanan is going to be the starter? Evans was a second-round pick, but Bruce Arians, Todd Bowles really don't know him. Jason Light does. So, do you think that there's a possibility that he could be pushed for the starting job? Is this a lingering thing where it holds him out for the start of training camp? I mean, what's the situation with Evans going forward, in your opinion?
In my opinion,
Yeah.
dealing with injuries, you want, as a player, you always want to play. You always think you're going to be able to get through it. And the worst part about some of these injuries are you have to literally do nothing to let it heal. It's and it sucks. You want to be out there with your guys. You can take mental reps, but I think that's what's going on right now. They're actually trying to let this injury heal instead of keeping on, and then letting it linger and keep nagging you over and
Sure.
over. That's why it's happening.
Yeah.
So hopefully he'll be ready by then. He's been at camp, getting his mental reps, knowing what's going on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't see why Arians wouldn't want him around. He's a rangy safety. He's made a lot of great plays. His first interception was against Hall of Famer, possibly the greatest quarterback in Tom Brady on a Thursday night game.
Yeah.
That was his first interception. He's
Absolutely.
made some nice plays. Really great
Last
run
year,
game.
I believe in the first game against the Saints, didn't he have an interception versus?
No, we only had one interception.
That was
before.
Vernon Hargraves, excuse me.
The first pick for that he had was against Big Ben, the
Big
Steelers
Ben,
game.
you're right.
On
Okay.
the sideline.
Got those confused, and Vernon
Yeah.
Hargraves also got hurt. So Evans, Hargraves coming back, but once again, Evans with the boot. So you would say nothing. 7 weeks. Hopefully that gets him.
Yeah, he
healed.
got 7 weeks off. Great
Sure.
time to get healed.
Sure.
Get himself right.
Sure. Okay. All right. Sounds good. And what you're watching right now is Blake and Blake Sports live here at First 1320 Central Avenue in St. Pete. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Blake Cabell, as we always do. Rain or shine, it kind of cleared up here. It's getting a little hot again, so
I
maybe we'll
love
get some rain, and you're singing along with
I
the
don't
weekend
think it's
over there.
bad.
So we got some music in the background. Tampa Ray Kennedy most likely will be joining us next week. Always love to have Rhett Matthew out, Derek Jones, Ren Dax if he wants to, of Peter Cass can definitely come out. And of course, just making additions throughout the week. Got Allison also. Go check her out. Her articles will be up as always. We love Bucks Report, what Bucks Report provides. And if you want to go and see that great Bucks content, go to bucksreport.com. All right. So we talked about the secondary, talked about Jameis Winston, now Justin Evans. Let's talk about this Goodell situation. You keep on hearing it. True or false, the NFL and Roger Goodell changed the season to 18 games. They eliminate the preseason to only be 2. And this most likely is the thing that puts the Players Association into basically a possible strike. This is why you hear reports of players saving their money. Do the players fight this? Are they in tune with having an 18-game season? Because all you hear is players want to practice less. They don't want to hit as much. Maybe that's because of injuries happening already. You don't want the 3 days, of course, the 2 days, but you want to cut down on that. But really, does it help by adding an extra 2 games to the regular season?
Well, help as far as ratings? Look,
Look, everybody wants football. I get it, but at the end of the day, you don't want a watered-down product. And if you eliminate those 2 preseason games, in your opinion, what's the effect of that, if any? Your silence speaks volumes at this point.
It's tough
'Cause
to-
it's really not.
because
You don't think it's going to be an effect?
Because there's 2 ways to answer that. You can answer it as a fan. Of course, we want more football.
Sure.
But then if you ask it as a player, of course you don't want more banging on your body and all that. Then you're going to demand more money for 2 more games. So and then the third part is it really going to drive any more revenue to add 2 more games?
Sure.
If this really comes into fruition, I don't really see that happening within the first 5 years. If they're actually going
Wow.
to change, I don't think it's going to happen like right away. That's something they're going to have to, like you said, talk out with the CBA.
I think it may happen sooner than you think.
think so?
I think it may be a part of the negotiations
The new
by
one?
the owners, yeah. And I think this may hold it up, and players may have something to say about it.
Oh,
And
they will.
look, if the players get a fair share of the pie, I think they'll be willing to do it. I also think that the NFL will be looking at more of going overseas and having those London games because, as a friend told me before, you know, why do you have those games overseas? Because they can sell out in 8 to 10 minutes.
Yep.
That's
And people
a
want football too.
right.
I wonder
So
if you add the 2 games, do you make those 2 games overseas games?
it's certainly a possibility, but you know, it kind of takes away from the narrative of the NFL kind of looking out for players and being safe, right?
It's a business.
Right,
So
I
they're gonna
get
do
it.
What's profitable?
But does this help the situation out where you're protecting your players? And I get it, you've instituted all these rules, but the Thursday night games for me, if I'm the players, I go back and say no Thursday night games if you're going to do 18-game season, because the Thursday night games, it takes, you know, it's 3-4 days prepare, you're back on the field again, and then they get a long layoff, but still, that's 3-4 days. So,
I'll tell you, I had to
oh,
do
you're
that.
waving at over there.
Just the fans
Yeah,
on
wave
there.
at the
Yeah,
fans over
Blake
there?
And Blake Sports,
Oh,
man.
Blake
The
and Blake
people know about
Sports.
that.
All right, there
so
you go.
what I want to say about that is that lost train of thought here. For a
Dude,
second.
it's your friend.
yeah, lost train of thought
Your
here.
fan?
You're talking about making the 18 games, and then the collective bargaining agreement. With the players are going to be up. They're going to demand more money, which it's what's happening anyway. Quarterbacks are making $30-40 million now. Carson Wentz gets an extension off the back of Foles, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But that's whatever. Eagles going to have to deal with that.
Sure.
It's interesting being how we were trying to expand the game in other countries, and a lot of players have gone over and tried to teach football to other countries as well. So I think it's like a
Well, you saw, the
Yeah.
impressive nature of the International Pro Day this year at the Advent Health Center in Tampa Bay. There was some international prospects that were signed. Joe Ken
and then
Johnson.
You got what is that, the
Yeah.
international
yeah.
development thing out
International
here in
Pro Day.
Bradenton, yeah.
Right.
So it's something that they're
IMG.
trying to move. Yeah, IMG.
Sure.
There's something they're moving. There's something that they're trying to move forward. Oh, what I wanted to say earlier. Let's be honest. I said with the movie Concussion, the league really doesn't care about the players as far as
Sure.
injuries, concussions. They try to push off that helmet-to-helmet contact doesn't lead to concussions and mental illness,
Right.
which was proven a fact. Just like when they tried to preach that cigarettes don't cause lung cancer.
Sure.
So
Right.
with that being said, they had to do what they had to do to avoid lawsuits, and that hence why they've made all these helmet-to-helmet rules and all that. They only do that to help themselves from getting sued civilly. So all they care about is bottom line and profit margin.
Right.
That's why you have the Players Association, which I don't know if people ever noticed, with the player, with the NFL emblem, and then the player on there. That's to symbolize the two different groups, the player organization and symbols that represent the NFL, and
Right.
the league.
Right.
So, to be honest, they never really cared about the players and the injury. It's
Oh, I
about
agree
the
with
money.
you. They care about the lawsuits that are
They
coming
care
down.
about the lawsuits. They care about
1,500
themselves.
lawsuits.
And
Right.
said the player can be replaced.
Sure,
They
of course.
don't want to give money out
shown
to all
that.
these. Yeah, I mean, it's easy.
Teams have shown that every offseason.
replaced.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of off seasons, and we'll get back to Bucks Report in a moment. Carson Wentz signs a contract extension, big time money. Risky, good deal by the Philadelphia Eagles by doing that, signing him to all
I
that
hope
money.
it's incentive based. Like I said, he got that off the back of Nick Foles.
Hasn't been able to stay healthy,
Yep,
He
got
really
that off
hasn't.
The back of Foles. I hope
Right.
he's sending him some checks.
right? Well, I mean, that's the market. I mean, you're going to see Dak Prescott get something, and then again, if Winston balls out like I think he
I
could,
think Winston's more. He'll ask for a more incentive based thing because that's just the kind of guy Winston is. I know everybody wants to bash him, blah blah blah, but this guy is truly a team player.
well, I think
truly a team player. And
I
I
think,
he
look,
would try to kill the Bucs.
if you make the comparisons between Tom Brady, why did the Patriots sustain? Because he takes less money
yeah, he'll do
than
it.
other
He'll sign
quarterbacks
players.
to help his team out, which has always been my point of contention.
The greatest
You-
of all time will do it. Why can't nobody else?
Right. You have
That's quarterback thing.
right.
That's quarterback.
And you have that window open, and then once you sign that big time contract by the quarterback, then it takes away from the possibilities of
Right.
free agency,
Hence,
adding players.
Seattle Seahawks.
Right, and then also losing players. So Yeah, we'll see. CJ says Justin Evans was playing good, interceptions off good quarterbacks, just like Andrew Adams. He picked off Tom Brady 2 to 3 times, or had 5 to 6 picks in 3 games.
Okay. Oh no, I get what he's saying. Keep going.
Yes, and they cut a pretty decent safety in Adams. He didn't fit the system. That's all it's to
Oh
it.
yeah, new system, and he just filled a void. I think he just got lucky off a wounded Cam Newton.
Sure.
He made the great plays, not taking nothing away from a guy coming off the street, making 3 interceptions in a game. If it's that easy, you go out and do it.
Right.
Not taking nothing away from him.
Played well.
Yep, to say he's just a long-term answer because he had those interceptions, I don't think so.
Right.
Justin Evans is a great safety, I agree. And he did make interceptions off 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, Big Ben and Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He's just got to get healthy. Like I say, 7 weeks off, this is the time to do it.
Yeah, that's it. And hopefully you can get healthy. Ray Kennedy, Tampa Ray Kennedy here. Rays are up Boston 4-1 in the 4th. Yarborough
We got that.
got out of trouble with a great one-out catch by sliding Meadows in the inning. I tell you what, Austin Meadows has definitely been the story of this young season for the Tampa Bay Rays. Not only hitting over 300, hitting home runs out of the park, and playing great defense. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's crazy to say this, but he could definitely be up for MVP contention if he continues on this path with the Tampa Bay Rays. As we're live here at Berks, 1320 Central Avenue in St. Pete. It's Blake and Blake Sports. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Blake Cabell, as Joshua Omoreggi has tuned in here. I got it right that time? All right, I won't have to kick you underneath there. All right, so we talked about Roger Goodell. We talked about the finals a little bit, possibly St. Louis and hockey wrapping up their Stanley Cup final with the Boston Bruins. Final thoughts?
Oh, you're talking about the Stanley Cup?
Oh, final thoughts overall in sports.
Overall, I'm just looking forward to this NFL season, especially here at Fergs with the watch parties away. We don't really have anything here. Lightning do a lot of stuff like that.
But that's not true. They are the official home of Blake and Blake Sports, live here on Bucks Report every Saturday, and of course the evolution of Sports Talk Television, the Sports Web.
Oh, I
Go
didn't
ahead.
mean Fergs. I meant like Tampa Bay.
Right.
With like watch parties and stuff like that.
Sure.
The Lightning do stuff like that.
Right.
Like the Bucks don't really do stuff
Well,
like that.
we're trying to take
Yeah.
this, this St. Pete, this St. Pete crowd and these fans, try to take some of these Tampa fans and bring them over to St. Pete if they don't have anywhere
There we go.
where they can get on camera.
This place is big, y'all.
Right.
It's
Great
influence,
food,
too.
great service, great bartenders, and a great owner in Mark Ferguson, and of course Zeb running the social media deal, and also DJ Mad Mike, who will have a PA system out here where fans will be able to hear what we're saying even more. So we're just going to it's going to expand more and more. Let's see here. Adams just popped up. Routine fly to right. Boston center field misses the catch in the sun. Right fielder picks up the drop ball and throws Adames out at first after he overran the base. Not a good play. And then Devin White is the key to this defense. If he balls out, the defense will be much improved. That's what William Romer says from Indiana. Thanks a lot for tuning in today to Blake and Blake Sports. You agree with that?
He's the key
White
to the defense.
being the key to the defense.
I mean,
A lot of
he'll-
people say defensive rookie of the year already.
I mean, he'll-
with the potential, the maturity, and the way he's come in, and the highlights, and a can't miss prospect. But we know there's always a transition period for a college player to the NFL, right?
I mean, he's going to be a great part. It's just with the speed. Like I said, I hope that they use him a lot in pass rushing situations and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the pressure is going to be more, most importantly to everything in this defense. White
Right.
will be a part of it, especially helping in coverage and making plays on mobile quarterbacks in our division.
Sure.
I hope he can win defensive MVP, but again, I care more about the team winning besides self victories. We've had a lot of that here.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't, of course, exactly the wins. So if it helps, I'm rooting for the kid.
Yep. Ray says there's going to be a special Bucks report live tonight from Al Lang Stadium covering the Tampa Bay Rowdies, the first place Tampa Bay Rowdies. So people say we don't cover soccer here. I guess Ray wants to change that because it is a kick in the grass, as the old 80s logo or 80s motto for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Great defenses have great linebackers. Agree, William? The first place Rays own cutting edge Rowdies. Yeah. All right, my final thought is definitely tune in tonight to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web, live with Mr. John Sable of ABC Action News. Again, sorry about the delays and the weather, but we do what we do here live at Ferg's on Central Avenue. We're going to get out of here. Leave your comments. Of course, if you have any emails at all, any Bucks takes, sports takes overall, pblake1003@yahoo.com. For Blake Cabell, I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. We'll see you tonight at 9:30 live with ABC Action News' John Sable. Have a good day.